Keeper of joys. And there we go. That makes 170 smiles. I step back from my massive corkboard and admire my collection of photos, notes, and colorful pushpins that represent all the moments I've captured. Each pin signifies a moment where I've made someone smile, and I've been doing this for 8 months and counting. My best friend, Lila, often teases me about being overly meticulous, but to me, it's a way to share positivity in our world. My aim? To reach 1,000 smiles before the year ends. Mira. Your girlfriend is here, my older brother, Jonah, calls from the living room, his tone teasing. Oh no. I completely lost track of time. I hurriedly set down the color-coded markers and glance around to make the room presentable. Coming. I shout back, pushing my hair into a bun as I dash down the stairs. As I turn the corner, there's Ella, my girlfriend, waiting with a bright smile that makes my heart flutter. Mira, she squeals, enveloping me in a warm hug that feels like home. Hey, gorgeous. How was school? I ask, leaning back to look at her. Long and tiring, but seeing you makes it all worth it, she replies, winking before we head back upstairs. Ella shifts her gaze to my corkboard, and her eyes widen. Wow. You're nearing 170 smiles, she exclaims, wrapping her arms around me from behind. Yeah, slowly but surely. It's so fulfilling, I say, feeling a rush of warmth as she kisses my neck. What if your board got knocked down and everything was erased? Ella asks playfully. Ugh, you're the worst. I'd be devastated. I roll onto my bed, offering her a mock glare. Nah, I'd remind you of all our smiles, she chuckles, poking my side. Okay, fair enough, I admit, grinning at her. And if that happened, I'd still have my phone app to keep track. Sometimes, I think you're a genius, keeper of joys, Ella smirks. Keeper of joys? I like that. When you reach 1,000,000, I'll knight you Sir Keeper of Joys, she teases, and I laugh. Shall we wander? I suggest, and a peck on the lips seals the deal, making me count her gift as 171 smiles. It's your turn to pick where to go. I remind Ella as we stroll through the quaint park nearby. I was thinking we could explore that new tea cafe, she responds, a sparkle in her eye. Ooh, sounds perfect. Then we can walk along the lake after, I answer, squeezing her hand. As we pass a park bench, an elderly couple catches my eye. Look, Betty, those girls are having so much fun, the woman comments, bringing a smile to my face. Let's give them a show. I whisper to Ella, before leaning down to kiss her. The couple falls silent, their surprised expressions sending us both into a fit of giggles. What was that for? Ella asks, her cheeks a rosy hue. Just because you're adorably kissable, I reply with a grin. You're so cheesy, Mira. I know, but it's charming, right? If by charming, you mean not to be taken seriously, Ella rolls her eyes playfully. The cafe is small but cozy, and as we sit by the window with our steaming cups of tea, I can't help but admire her. With her dark curls and those captivating hazel eyes, she's beauty incarnate. Is it good? I ask, watching her take a sip. Delicious, she beams. I glance at my phone, then back at her. Want to tell my parents we're sleeping over tonight? Yes. She beams, beaming with excitement. You know, you make me smile so much that you could get me to 1,000,000 without counting anyone else's joy, I say, nudging her arm. Ella radiates joy as we finish our drinks, hearts finally at ease. After quickly preparing dinner at home, I sense something unusually quiet. Hey, Mira, how's school? My dad asks between mouthfuls. Dare I say, an adventure as always. How's Ella doing? Jonah teases me. She's doing great, just like I am. I boast, drawing laughter from my parents. Soon, we retreat to my room, where I eagerly add a few more tally points to my collection. Guess what? I've been excited about tonight too, I whisper, leaning close to Ella. Uno, she declares with a flourish, followed by a sly smile as we begin our game. After several rounds of laughter-filled competition, we collapse onto my bed, each teasing the other until finally growing quiet beneath the soft, warm glow of fairy lights. Ready for a goodnight kiss? I tease, and she nods with a seriousness that makes my heart race. Always, she whispers back, and just like that, we drift into slumber, arms intertwined. When morning breaks, I shift softly under Ella's embrace. A gentle press of her lips on my neck stirs me awake, and a small smile adorns my face. Stumbling out of bed, I make my way to confirm my last count. As I reach for my corkboard, a wave of panic washes over me. Ella! I can't find my tally marks. I shriek. She jumps up, groggy but alert. What are you talking about? They're all gone. Together we scour the room, but all we see is an empty board. What's going on? She asks incredulously. No idea. I'll call Lila. I quickly dial my best friend, and she picks up after 3 rings. Hey. What's up? Lila chirps. You won't believe what happened. All my tally marks disappeared. No way. When was the last time you saw them? Right before bed, I swear they were there. I can feel the urge to cry choking me. Did you leave your window open? She wonders. No, but maybe it was a draft. Ella suggests with a furrowed brow. We should meet at my place, Lila decides quickly. A short while later, we arrive at Lila's house, both feeling puzzled. What if we set up a camera, see if it actually disappears again, she says, a gleam of determination in her eyes. I love this plan. Ella agrees, and soon enough, we set everything up for a night of vigil. On the morrow, bleary-eyed, I check my phone, my corkboard yet again devoid of any marks. No footage either, I sigh heavily. Mira, what do you believe about joy? Lila asks suddenly. That it's what makes the world go round. I respond, confused. Exactly. There's a reason you value documenting this. Maybe someone, or something, is trying to teach you about living in the moment, Lila proposes. Or this is just a stupid prank from Jonah, Ella snorts. Regardless, maybe we should embrace a little magic and just focus on our smiles, instead of counting them. I nod slowly, contemplating her words as I turn to Ella, who beams back at me with that irresistible smile. Here's to making 1 million smiles, regardless of tallies, I say, squeezing her hand. Cheers to that. Ella grins, and just like that, we continue forward, leaving the world of marks behind. As the days passed, the emptiness of my corkboard slowly transformed into a small reminder of the joy I found in the moments I shared with Ella and my friends. Despite the absence of my tally marks, the positive energy surrounding me intensified. Each day became a new adventure, and every encounter with Ella felt like a celebration of happiness rather than just another number on a board. One afternoon, while strolling through the park, I turned to Ella. You know what? Let's focus on having fun instead of keeping track. Let's just enjoy our time together. Her eyes sparkled with excitement. I love that idea. How about we try something new? We could volunteer at the animal shelter and make some furry friends. Absolutely. Animals always bring smiles, I replied, my heart soaring at the thought of spending time with her and helping others at the same time. The next weekend, we donned our volunteer shirts and arrived at the local animal shelter. The moment we entered, we were greeted by the joyful barks of dogs and the soft meows of cats. I felt an overwhelming sense of happiness wash over me, and I glanced at Ella, who had the biggest grin on her face. Let's find some pups to play with. Ella exclaimed, darting towards a nearby kennel. I followed her, laughing as she bent down to greet an enthusiastic golden retriever. As we played with the animals, I couldn't help but notice how Ella's presence brought life to everything around her. Each hug or kiss shared between us drew delighted responses from the animals, who seemed to sense the positive energy we radiated. With every moment we spent volunteering, I realized we were creating new smiles, both for ourselves and the animals, while learning to appreciate the joy of the present. By the end of the day, we left the shelter with our hearts full, not a single tally mark necessary to measure the happiness we felt. After our volunteering day, our routine shifted. Instead of focusing on counting smiles, we began journaling about our experiences together. We painted, explored new places around town, and even took a spontaneous trip to the beach. One evening, after a long day of adventuring, we found ourselves on the beach, where the sun dipped below the horizon, casting breathtaking hues of orange and purple across the sky. Sitting on the sand, we shared stories and laughter, the salty breeze whipping our hair around like wild halos. "Mira," Ella said suddenly, her tone more serious, "I've been thinking about what we did at the shelter. You know, it's incredible how we managed to find joy without keeping track of it. It makes me think we should share this idea with others. Like a community project," I suggested, intrigued. "Exactly. We could host a weekly event in the park, games, volunteering opportunities, or simply gather to share our happiest moments. We can call it Joy Gatherings." "Ella, that's an amazing idea," I exclaimed, my heart racing with excitement. We plotted out all the specifics that night, creating a vision for our gatherings, and how we would spread happiness throughout our community. The very next week, our first Joy Gathering commenced, and it exceeded all expectations. As the sun rose on that Saturday morning, families gathered in the park with picnic blankets, games, and smiles. Ella and I set up a few activities, but the real joy was infectious. Laughter echoed through the park as strangers became friends over shared joys. On the day of the event, I wandered around, feeling buoyed by how many people celebrated together. I felt more fulfilled than ever as I realized that counting was no longer necessary to understand how much happiness we could cultivate in just one day. One evening, as the event warmed down with glowing fairy lights above us, and the sunset framing Ella's face with golden light, I turned to her. "Thank you for inspiring me to see joy differently. This is what it means to keep track, through experiences rather than numbers." She gave me a soft smile. "And lives are about creating these moments together. We've turned our smiles into something so much bigger, haven't we?" I nodded, feeling overwhelmed by the warmth in my chest. In that moment, I understood that it wasn't about how many smiles were counted but about the love and joy shared with each experience. As we began to pack up, I glanced back at the groups of people mingling, laughing, and sharing stories. My heart soared, knowing that while I may have given up the tally marks, I had created something far greater, a tapestry of joy that would continue to grow and expand. And with Ella by my side, I felt like a keeper of joys in ways I never imagined possible. With each gathering, I realized that our love and the smiles we created together would outlast any numbers I ever wrote down, reminding me that joy resides in the moments we cherish, not just in the counts we keep. From that point forward, we fully embraced the magic of spontaneity, discovering new adventures and crafting memories that would be etched in our hearts forever. Every day held the promise of laughter, love, and the genuine smiles that defined our beautiful journey. As weeks turned into months, our joy gatherings became a cherished staple in our community. The park turned vibrant on Saturday mornings with laughter, art stations, and even the occasional small dog parade. Ella and I found joy not only in organizing but in watching strangers connect, turning into friends through the simple act of sharing joy. One sunny afternoon, while setting up the tables with Ella, I felt a familiar wave of gratitude wash over me. I turned to her. "Can you believe how much this has grown? It warms my heart to see everyone so happy together." Ella beamed at me, her curls fluttering in the gentle breeze. "I wouldn't have believed it at first either, but here we are. And it's all thanks to you, Mira." "No, it's thanks to both of us," I corrected playfully, nudging her shoulder. "And all the smiles we've cultivated over time." As we decorated the park for the latest gathering, I sensed something different in the air. There was an electricity, almost an expectation, as families arrived and set up blankets. As I looked around, I could see the familiar faces of children and adults alike, all chatting and laughing warmly. I felt a swell of pride in my chest knowing we had contributed to so much happiness in our community. Later that day, as dusk painted the sky with strokes of purple, gold, and blue, I realized it was time for us to do something special. Standing on a small wooden crate, I smiled at the crowd gathered around us. Thank you all for coming to our joy gathering. It's been so wonderful to see our community come together. Today, we want you to participate in sharing joy. I gestured with my hands, inviting Ella to join me. Together, we're going to have an activity, Ella chimed, just as excited. We call it the Joy Exchange. All of you will have a chance to share a moment, a memory, or even a kind word, and someone in the crowd can match it. Let's spread our joy. As cheers erupted from the crowd, I felt the energy surge and electric delight surrounding us. One by one, people held up memories, with laughter echoing under the starry sky. The joy exchange turned into a tapestry of shared experiences. Couples shared anecdotes about their first dates, children spoke of their favorite games, and even strangers connected over surprisingly similar stories. At one point, while organizing a new group, I glanced around and caught Ella's eye. She waved, her smile reflecting the warmth and positivity that characterized our time together. My heart fluttered in admiration for not only her but for the love we had created in our shared experiences. As the gathering continued, I saw that same elderly couple from before, Betty and Gerald, who had once watched us in the park. They shuffled closer, holding hands tightly. "Can we share something?" Betty asked, looking earnestly at us. "Absolutely," Ella said, her voice brimming with enthusiasm. "What you've done here is beautiful. You've brought our community together. There are days when things feel dark, but tonight, everyone smiles, and that means the world." Gerald's voice shook with emotion. "Thank you for bringing joy back in our lives," Betty added, her eyes glistening with tears. I blinked back my own tears, realizing how our little gatherings had made an impact beyond what we ever imagined. After their heartfelt words, the crowd joined in applause, and a wave of unity washed over us. It was clear that we had created something special, a safe space nurtured by joy that encouraged everyone to be themselves and share their smiles. That night, as we wrapped up the gathering, Ella and I stood at the edge of the park, watching everyone leave, laughter bubbling in the air. "I can't believe how much this has grown," I said, leaning my head against her shoulder. "Neither can I. You've created a wonder, keepers of joys indeed," she laughed, nudging me playfully. With thoughts swirling, an idea struck me. What if we document our gatherings? Capture the smiles, the moments shared, and create a little book to show everyone how joy radiates. Ella's eyes lit up. "That sounds amazing. We can include photos, stories, and even the best memories from the joy exchange." That night, we began brainstorming our project, gathering photos, memories, and notes to celebrate our journey. Over cups of tea and sweet pastries, we flipped through pictures of ecstatic faces, random heartwarming adventures, and all the lights in people's eyes. It felt like we were compiling a treasure trove of happiness. Months later, we compiled our book and decided to distribute it to the attendees of our gatherings as a keepsake. During our final gathering of the season, we revealed it, and moments later, laughter and delighted exclamations surrounded us. With tears in her eyes, Ella turned to me. "We did this together, Mira. We changed lives." Holding her hand tightly, I realized that my initial mission of tallying smiles had transformed into something magical. The true essence of joy wasn't measured in numbers but celebrated in connections, emotions, and the bonds we forged through happiness. As I gazed at the sun setting over the park, surrounded by friends, laughter, and love, I knew that my heart would always be a keeper of joys, filled with memories, experiences, and relationships crafted over the feelings we shared. No longer did we need a whiteboard or a tally. We simply had to look around us, at the smiling faces, the laughter echoing in the air, and at the love we had woven into the fabric of our lives. It was in those moments, shared together, that we found the essence of true happiness. And as we stood hand in hand, watching life unfold before our eyes, I felt an unwavering belief that joy would always find a way to flourish, enriching our lives in ways we had yet to discover.